What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. This is Leo's Nerd Talk, and today we're going to be ranking all 4 live action actors that have portrayed Superman. Hi, my name is Leo Namias. I talk about movie, TV show, video game related, or just anything nerdy. You are in the right place. And like I said, today we're going over all the 4 live action actors that have portrayed Superman. So without further ado, let's get into the ranking. Before we get started, I know there's more than 4 actors that have portrayed Superman in live action. Of course, we have like Smallville. We have little cameos here and there from like The Flash and things like that. But I wanted to go over the movies that I've seen and that have their own standalone theatrical movie and rank those specific ones, because I feel like those are the ones that most people are aware of and know of and actually have experience with. But before I give you my ranking on the 4 actors that portray Superman, let me know what your guys' ranking is in the comment section down below. Love to hear how you guys stack these actors up against each other when it comes to the Superman character. With that being said, let's go ahead and get straight into the ranking. Now, coming in number 4, we have Brandon Routh, or Routh, however you pronounce his last name. This character, or this portrayal of Superman, I think gets overshadowed by kind of a bad movie. But on top of the bad movie, I think the way they portray Superman itself, and I'm not sure if this is the actor's fault itself or this is the way he was directed to be, but I do think for both the Superman side and the Clark Kent side, I feel like is a very lackluster character. There's not too much depth to him. He acts the same, in my opinion, on both ends of it, where you don't really get that Clark Kent side of it, where he's a little bit more kind of silly and goofy and nerdy, and isn't as confident in himself. And then getting the opposite side of being Superman, where he feels the confidence, he feels the heroicism. You don't really get that characterization with his character or his portrayal. There's not really many layers in his character either. To me, it felt like the entire movie with Superman Returns, it was all really one note, and there was no progression or character work or character arc in him. He kind of stayed steady throughout the entire time. So it ends up being something that I've said multiple times already on this channel, where he ends up being a Superman that I don't really invest myself in, because there's not too much to invest yourself in with. There's not a characterization or a plot point or a situation where you can relate to this character, because he's just very monotone, all one note, where it ends up making the movie feel kind of boring and following a character that you don't care too much about. Now, this one might get me in trouble, but coming at number 3, we're going to go with Henry Cavill. Now, before you go up in arms about this, let me make it very clear. There is a huge gap between Brandon and Henry Cavill's Superman. I think Henry Cavill did a fantastic job as Superman, one of the best Superman characters of all time. He's extremely epic when it came to the fight sequences. Absolutely amazing, extremely menacing. You can feel the Superman character in him. He's brooding. He had the look. He had the physicality. I think Henry Cavill in general as a whole is an amazing actor as well. The one thing that I always complained about, though, his character is not having enough of the Clark Kent side. Very similar to Brandon, where it felt pretty one note across the board when it comes to his physicality and his attitude. He is kind of that brooding force, that super confident person throughout the entire time. So you never get that kind of double-sidedness of the Superman character that is very traditional, and something that I like to see as well, of seeing his confidence come from being Superman and how he has to act and portray himself as someone a little bit lesser in that Clark Kent character. But if you put the Clark Kent character aside, because we don't really get too much of that in the Man of Steel or Batman vs Superman movies, and solely focus on the Superman side of it, he is absolutely fantastic. The one thing I will say, though, is I do think sometimes he can be a little too mean and gritty over Superman. He doesn't really give me that hopeful nature that I really enjoy out of a Superman character, but it is one of those Supermans that made me like Superman a lot more, where before I wasn't really that big of that on that character and was never really a fan of Superman overall, and Henry Cavill made me a little bit more of a fan than I was previously. And this might be another controversial pick, but coming in my number 2 is going to be Christopher Reeves. I could not believe how much I enjoyed that 1978 movie with Christopher Reeves as Superman. Such a charming, charismatic character, so hopeful. I think he portrays both sides as one. He portrays the Superman and Clark Kent one of the best. Obviously, I have, the new one up above, but the way he transitions from being this very nerdy, um, clumsy, goofy Clark Kent, super shy. No one really acknowledges him. And the way he changes and switches up even his posture, his attitude, the way he stands up a little bit taller when he gets into that Superman suit. I think Chris Reeves has done a fantastic job in that role and made those movies feel like masterpieces and made you invest in those characters. Like I couldn't believe how much I fell in love with the Chris Reeves Superman, where it's for me it is a masterpiece, one of the best superhero movies of all time, even for its time, where it still feels dated every once in a while when you watch it. It's still a masterpiece, and a lot of it comes from Christopher Reeve's portrayal as Superman and how he is able to just weave his way in that character to feel hopeful, to have the emotion, to have the charm, to have the comedy. And then on the other side, when you're playing the Clark Kent, to have that shyness, that goofiness that make you believe that these are two sides of one character. And so Chris Reeves did an absolute amazing job as Superman. But coming in my number one, I don't really think this is recency bias, but David Cornsweet blew my mind as Superman. I think he is the most charismatic, the most charming. I love his Clark Kent side. I wish we got more of it in that movie and saw more of his Clark Kent natures and kind of characteristics. But even the little that we got, I absolutely love that side of him. Superman was absolutely extremely epic. You can feel the hopefulness. He gave me similar vibes of what Christopher Reeves gave us in those earlier films, where you feel that charismatic nature to him. He has great characteristics, such an emotional story arc and character arc that he has to feel like he belongs, trying to find that hope, trying to be the hero that people need to make people come together. It just felt like such a great comic book character, so accurate to the comic books, and it made me fall in love even more so into the Superman character, when Superman inherently isn't a character that I really cared too much about. Growing up as a kid, it was a character that I always thought wasn't relatable enough because he was too powerful. And James Gunn and David Cornsweet's portrayal found a way to relate yourself to this character, to root for him, to feel the hope, to feel the emotion, to feel the weight and the heart in the character. So I think David Cornsweet absolutely killed it, and I cannot wait to see what they do next with him in sequels and in the Justice League and whatever we're going to get in this new DC universe. So I'm so happy to say that David Cornsweet absolutely killed it and is an amazing Superman. But that is going to be it for this one, guys. Let me know your guys' ranking in the comment section down below. Again, this is just my opinion. This is not the correct list. I'm sure you guys have different opinions than I do, so I'll definitely love to hear all of those down below. But again, if you guys like talking about the movie, TV show, video game related, or just anything nerdy, you are in the right place. Make sure that like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Thank you.